Hello, everyone. I'm Siddharth Ramakrishnan, professor of neuroscience at the University of Puget Sound in Tacoma, Washington.
Hi, everyone. This is Victoria Vesna. I'm professor at Design Media Arts at UCLA, and I also direct the Art Science Center there.
And we are very excited to bring our long-standing Hawk Zodiac project to this community of ethicists who are discussing practical ethics at these international conferences. And this is a collaborative project that me as a scientist and with Victoria as an artist have been working together for over 13 years now. And
Yes.
over time, we've really crossed the intersections of human rights, animal rights, and discussing different ethics-based conversations. And we are excited to bring that to the forefront here.
So the way the project started was really through a conversation about the idea of what would be interesting to Siddharth to do research if there was no bars on funding, on what the lab is doing. And he immediately said, I would love to explore more the Hawk Zodiac. What we're going to present to you is the story of how this evolved and why we kept going. So this is the Hawk's wheel, and it will be explained to you as we go.
Yeah, the Hox genes are these really amazing set of genes that all of us share. And it is present in flies, it's present in elephants, it's present in snakes, and it's evolutionarily conserved. And the lovely part about these genes is these are the ones that define whether you have a head, two hands, and 2 feet, or whether you have a long trunk like an elephant, or whether you have a long body like a snake. Irrespective of how different an animal looks, we all share the same set of genes which control how you look in terms of species. And we really want to highlight this fact of in our universe where we are even fighting for racial justice and finding discrimination between races of people. It is interesting to also think about how not only do we share this amazing connection between each other as humans, but also between humans and animals that we share the planet with, that we tend to forget that humans are also animals and we coexist with this amazing plethora of animals which all look very different from each other, but have an underlying similarity in genetic code. And that's what you're seeing here highlighted in this picture, is how these genes codify the head of the fly and the human embryo as well. And over time, what's happened is in labs, these genes are being modified to create mutant creatures. And this is something, again, we're going to be seeing more and more in the future, where hybrid humans will be coming into the forte, and transhumanism, which has been so far a philosophical discussion, will become a big forefront of the ethics discussions that will have to transpire. Already there are organ farms where you can grow human hearts and kidneys in animals, and they're looking to transplant them into humans. And these kinds of questions about human rights and animal rights and human animal hybrid rights will be something that we constantly discuss and are up against in the near future.
And so this was super exciting to me, but it was also a challenge. How do we create something that's true for every creature on Earth? And this is how the Chinese zodiac came about. So when we were invited, this image that you're seeing is in Hong Kong. We were invited to exhibition and symposium about biotech and art. We started here. And at this point, it wasn't set up as a dinner, but because we did it on a round table with petri dishes that were signifying each of the animals, that all of the animals also have a ruling organ with Chinese medicine. In China, they're used to eating at round tables. So we suddenly were confronted with, we had to share food. And we thought, well, if we're all sitting as animals that are represented in this zodiac, maybe we should present the audience with the idea that they eat the food that is recommended for them or offer themselves. And this is how the whole project started as a fun exercise, but then developed further and further by need, really. What you're seeing here is one image from our website that just briefly gives you a sense of all the different elements. And it's a combination. So we do mutations not only disciplinary but also in culturally, as you will see when we show a few of these dinners. For instance, this is the Year of the Rabbit that we just celebrated. And we had scientists and artists who are born under that sign come and present stories, food, myths, and also present food that they cooked for us. So you can either offer rabbit as a rabbit, which would be great in France, for instance, but not so great in this country. And that kind of cultural mix is with food and friendship and building community brings up a lot of different questions.
And as we walk through this project, which is now a dinner party, we invite you to this Hawk Zodiac dinner experience, and we'll be showing you a host of different dinners we've had over the last 10 years.
Mhm.
And we start these dinners by invoking the blood that we share and the DNA that we share with both our fellow human creatures as well as the animals, and invite you to come and participate in these dinners while acknowledging the animals that become food on our table, animals that serve as science subjects, animals which accompany us as pets, as well as those that we share myths with as we move forward.
So the dinners start by sharing wine that denotes and symbolizes the blood that we all share, and the fusilli, which you may not see with this. Here we go. That symbolizes our shared DNA.
What has been interesting is because we've conducted these dinner parties across different cultures in different localities and different areas, we've started to interact with different cultural connotations in these places. What can be served as food? What can be refused? What is polite? What is impolite? And also hitting up against things about how food is industrialized and how that affects human rights and how that affects the ethics of a particular area, how that conflicts with agrarian ethics or processing of different, and who gets access to good quality food and who doesn't have access to food, and where there are food deserts. And these kinds of themes and conversations emerge as a part of this dinner party.
Here you're seeing Puget Sound, the Museum of Natural History, and this is in Vienna at the Angewandte Innovation Center. This man is actually offering us horse meat, which again would not be something that would be happening in other parts of the world, but there it's considered a delicacy. This is one of the table settings. Sometimes it's very formal. This was a formal dinner, private one in Vienna that lasted 6 hours with many different guests from artists to scientists. We also do online versions. Of course, this evolved in the pandemic, which we didn't think would work very well, but it actually does. It's wonderful for people who share food and community, even in those areas. Here's another setting that shows you the vial with the red wine and this fusilli. This is a recent dinner actually in Slovenia. Masha Yazbets is an artist and she invited many scientists and other artists from Slovenia. Here she is online, so she's actually participating as a rooster, and we talked a lot about chickens and roosters and avian flu and all the issues around the pandemic. This is Ivana, who beamed in from Serbia, where they had this big holiday with pigs being obviously done in mass. And there were many issues around that, positive and negative, and she's in the sign of pig, as I am. So we were discussing how pigs are treated. And this is Pat Badani, who's an artist who also works with food. And she created this kind of fortune-telling game for online. So we're experimenting how to create community discussion online without it being boring for everybody.
What has really emerged for us is that because we have such a diverse array of participants from around the world, it's bringing into highlight climate activists, people who are fighting for indigenous rights, people who are wanting to highlight and showcase how food systems or industrial systems have been taken over in specific areas, and providing a platform for these people to highlight the work that's being done in isolated pockets, which was even more isolated because of the pandemic, and it's becoming difficult for those stories to emerge. And this kind of serves as almost like a conduit for people to express themselves and have dialogues about it instead of just, venting it once and then it just disappears. People actually acknowledge it and have discussions around it, and hopefully will be able to move forward with some of these conversations.
An example is Clarissa Ribeiro from Brazil, who always brings to us interesting news and alarming news about the Amazon and indigenous population there in relation to food and agriculture. And we have just a few minutes left, so we also wanted to point out that this project has also evolved into an educational arm because of its openness. So we did workshops in Zurich, Switzerland. This is another one in Vienna. This is a table setting that is also very important to us to think of materials that we're using and supporting communities of artisans in India, China, and locally to bring that to the attention as well. This is an exhibition at the Building Bridges Gallery in Los Angeles. And we created books. And here's an example of all the different people contributing to the project for many years, by the way. So a lot of the people listed here that were in this exhibition in particular continue to be participants. And each time we learn something new.
Yeah, it's a truly global event, and it's thereby it's offering different perspectives on these on this really important concept of human rights, climate rights, and also how food systems contribute to all of these things.
The most recent essay that we published was in this wonderful book that was edited by Extine Burrow and Judy Walgren on art as social practice. And we're so committed to this. The book that's right next to it is a rabbit cookbook with, different ways of thinking of cooking. But it actually does have dishes in addition to myths and stories and scientific facts about the rabbit. So we wish you a happy new year of the rabbit. We hope that you continue to think about animals and yourself as an animal. And we want to express our gratitude to the conference organizers for inviting us.
Thank you.